I'm Althea Viafora Kress, and you're watching Vernissage TV, and I'm happy to welcome our guest today, Pete Surace, the founder of Rare Gallery here in New York City, and we're sitting at the Scope Art Fair 2007. Welcome, Pete.
Thank you.
Can you begin by telling us when Rare Gallery was founded?
We opened Rare 1998 in the meatpacking district of New York, down on West 14th Street. We stayed there for 5 years, and then we moved up to Chelsea almost 5 years ago. So we'll be celebrating, we're on West 26th Street, and we'll be celebrating 10 years next January. So
You were pioneering in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Chelsea.
Yes, where the rents were actually less than they are on West 14th Street because all the fashion houses and restaurants moved in that area, and it got very crowded and very annoying and very fashiony, a little too fashiony, and
Yes.
we thought it was time to get out of there and into a more serious neighborhood, which we found in Chelsea.
So tell us today, let's talk about the minefields of collecting contemporary art. They're the deep-pocketed collectors who hire the consultants who know their ways around, but there's also the younger collectors or the newer collectors, and they have different goals amongst themselves, individually, be it financially, aesthetically. But when you see a new collector coming into your gallery, how would you approach them, and what would you first advise them?
Well, anyone who walks through our door is no matter who it is a client, no matter whether they buy something for us or not. And I think we just treat everyone the same in the sense that if there's a show up and they want questions answered, we won't bother people if they're busy, but if they ask questions, we'll answer them about the show. If they seem to indicate they'd like to see other things, we'll show them images on the computer, and then we'll pull out stuff that we might have in inventory.
Yes.
But there are different kinds of collectors that come through, and so you have to adapt to what they want as opposed to what you want to do.
Exactly.
And so you have to sort of very quickly, I'm just going to turn this thing off and disconnect it for a minute.
It's the life of an art dealer.
I know, it's constant. So that's that.
Yes.
So what we do is we adapt to our collectors instead of trying to force them into a niche. We just find out what their needs are, and people that have consultants, there's nothing wrong with the consultant. Consultants are great. We work with consultants, and I think their role is, first of all, they like working with galleries for the most part because they have to work with galleries, and so we generally find consultants very pleasant to deal with, and they're always very interested in knowing in depth about the artist. Most consultants we deal with are very interested in educating their clients. So the one thing that I notice is that clients, to varying degrees, rely on consultants. So in other words, there are some that use a consultant as a sounding board, just to get a second opinion, and there are others who rely very heavily on the consultant's eye, where basically the consultant will A or nay something, and their client will go exactly by that. So it varies.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should ever rely too much on anyone for anything, and I think that a consultant is great to give a broader perspective and where the work fits in within the context of contemporary art, and to help comment on how they feel about the quality of the piece. But I think ultimately, and the pricing of course, but I think ultimately the collector needs to ensure that their collection, or his or her collection, is a reflection of their personality, and to do that, the only way they can do that is to rely ultimately on their own sense.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I've gone to collections after collections, and sometimes it seems that everyone's collecting the same thing at the same time. Everyone has to have one of this or one of that or two of these. You need 3 drawings by this person or a small sculpture by that person, and you see these trends that are reflected in collections where, for a while it seemed everyone wanted a Reneke Dijkstra photo, and every collection had a Reneke Dijkstra photo. Happens to be that series she did was brilliant, and I certainly would have liked to have had several of her photos, but if you're true to yourself, you get the photo because you like it, not because you're told to buy it.
Well, there are different kinds of collectors. There are collectors that buy for signatures, say, and often without very specific advice, they might get a secondary work, a mediocre work, because
Right,
they're deciding
right.
just on a signature.
Right.
Then there are other collectors who are interested in collecting unknown artists and perhaps discovering an artist.
Those are the kind of collectors we
Now,
like.
and they're the ones that actually really need to do the due diligence. Because one, if they're unfamiliar with the art world, they fall into the land of jargon and mythologizing, and perhaps even if a catalog is written about a young artist, it's not art criticism.
Right.
It's actually something that is supporting the placement of that
Well,
work.
yeah.
But when you speak to your clients when they come in, do you walk them through the gallery and then show them the different artists that you represent and see what they respond to?
It depends how much time they have and what they're looking for. Sometimes they're in for a specific show. Sometimes they really want to see what you do as a gallery. And then again, we'll take them through images on the website. I mean, they'll usually specify painting, drawing, sculpture,
Yes.
which is what we mostly show: sculpture and installation-based sculpture, objects, and painting. It depends how much time they have. Often we'll send images. They'll see a few images and they'll say, send me 10 images of this, 5 images of that. I'm interested in that painting, that sculpture.
Yes.
So it gets specific by the time they leave, but generally it really narrows down as they have a few days to think about it based on the images we've sent them. Unfortunately, but also fortunately, a lot of buying and selling is done through digital images. And
That's something totally new.
Yeah. It's
10 years ago, that didn't exist.
It existed to a point, but it's not so prevalent as it is today. I'd say half of our clients buy straight off digital images, and the others will see a digital image and they'll come in.
Where are you